Greetings, everyone. Some tea. Greetings, everyone. Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Chanta Sama Day. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Have a seat, have a sit down. Let's chat at the fireside. Let's chat at the fireside. Oh my goodness, so much to unpack today. There's so much to unpack. I have a whole list. Oh my gosh, it's just, first of all, I want to how do I, the Bridgewater family on St. John just lost their sister, a friend of mine. And this friend of mine was a classmate of mine that I went to school with on St. John. And she passed away. She's now an ancestor, and it's she was a sweet lady. She was a sweetheart. She would always tell me the truth. No matter what, she would tell me, you know? And this past summer, when I was with my summer program that I do every summer, we the children, we paint on the bay. We paint on not on the bay, but we're at tables that are at the bay. Sherry Compton allowed me to be there on the benches there. I drove past one day and I said, wow, we could, sit there and paint. The children could paint. Anyway, we were walking from there to return to the park. To return to the park or return somewhere where we were. Because my outdoor workshop, we go outside and we explore historical places and spaces on the island. So I saw my friend, Verna Bridgewater. She stopped me and we were talking. And I remember telling my staff, my workshop leaders, I said, You all take the children, let me, talk to this lady. And I think she was cleaning. She was doing something. No, she was working somewhere in there. Um, and she stopped and she was like, um, she liked what I was doing with the children. Um, and I had to stop and speak with her. On St. John, on this island, everybody stops and speaks to everyone. People stop in the middle of the street driving, and you're sitting in your car behind people who just stop in the middle of the street and talk to folks. This happens. So it's an island. There's no street lights or anything. Stop signs, yes, but that's sometimes not adhered to. Anyway, I'm prefacing the psalm today with this news of my friend because it's I just learned about it today. This rise on Facebook, so I just learned about it. So it's like really wow for me. And there's so many ways to remember someone. There's so many ways to remember someone, and I usually create scholarships, or do something to remember that person, because it's important to give children, and especially today, especially now, opportunities for learning. And during the summer, there's a learning loss. Children are out of school, they're at home, they're not doing anything. And I provide a opportunity for them to do something in the summer. While they're doing that, they're learning reading skills, very important for school. They're learning how to work with each other. And I use my pies to analyze and evaluate. I have a framework. So in so doing, it's raining outside. It sounds so beautiful. And in so doing, I find that to remember, like my son that passed, I remembered him by building a deck. It's this deck I had built on the side of my office / room that's now being infested with pests. Anyway, that's a whole nother video. I should, when I return there, I should video this whole thing, my room and that. But anyway, so I did that for my son who passed in 2023. Still hurts today. Anyway, still hurts today. So, whew. And then my dad passed in 20. Thank you for liking this video, by the way. My dad passed in 2024. So we're at the top of the hour here. And these are ancestors who have basically went ahead of us, and have gone to another life, you know. And I want to have a moment of, silence and for my friend Verna Bridgewater. Um, Her sister goes to my church, and uh, her sister goes to my church. It's just sad. Life is, and it really shows us how fragile life is and how we must become soldiers of love, honest love and, you know, truthful love. When relationships have started with a lie, a lie, it's not, it's a lie is a like a sinking sand that is going to wash away. And the fragility of life within that, and knowing how fragile life is, we have to become more loving to one another. And we have to become more loving to one another. Yeah, we do. We do. Becoming more loving to one another puts us in a place where, we can become the best version of ourselves. And, oftentimes we cannot be the best version of ourselves when we're living in a lie, when we're living a lie. And we're going off of emotional, hurt or distress. And, I know that from experience. And when we find ourselves in situations that do not lift us up, but make us sad, or, we have to look at ourselves in it. We have to look at ourselves in that. So, the psalm today is, I'm prefacing it with this because this I just found this out now. I just found this out now. So yeah, it's kind of blew my mind in terms of I was waiting for that one. Oh, excuse me. It was sitting right there. That's why hot tea is so good. It just helps. Pour some more in here. And I have hot water with me right here. I'm going to put in so my water stays hot. So I had a guest today that was going to come on. One of my viewers, I was going to have as a guest. However, because of what I just learned today, this Chanta Psalm today is for my friend Verna, Bridgewater, that has transitioned to, another life. And, you know, we have so many things going on in the world that we don't think about people until they are gone. And then we're like, wow, we remember them. Um, we have to remember people now. We have to, you know, um, we have to do that. I get so caught up in work. I get so caught up in what I'm doing, and it's not things that I'm doing for myself. It's more of to create experiences, positive ones for children and families. For that is the nucleus of society, the family. And in creating these experiences, activities, programs that provide them with the resources, references, and righteous, living that they can produce their purpose and live that in their way. So, and we talk about what is the meaning of life, what is the purpose of life. And they can be different, the meaning of life and the purpose of life. Well, according to Pablo Picasso was a Spanish painter. Pablo Picasso said the meaning of life is to find your gift. That's the meaning of life. And the purpose of life is to give it away. So many a times I have given and have been very generous in my giving. And my purpose and my meaning for life may not be too different, in terms of how we look at our own lives. So, yeah, this Chanta Psalm today is for my friend Verna that is no longer in the land of the living. And the dangerous flooding and mudslides that are happening in the U.S., specifically Mississippi, Virginia, these areas, there have been, National Guards deployed, etc. There's mudslides and all these things, Virginia, Tennessee, Kentucky, tornado in Wayne County, there's snowfall happening. And when, we are here in the land of the living, we are here in the land of the living, and we have to live. We have to live. How are we going to do that? We have to live. We have to, remember that in that truth of our life, there are things that are around us, right? Where we put ourselves and how we live. So we have this idea that, there's no there's no consequences. Um, what you do today is going to impact you for the rest of your life. And I didn't think that way in my 20s, 30s, 40s, I didn't think those ways. Um, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this moment, and oftentimes those moments add up to something. And how you live, what you sow is what you're going to reap, and that's why, self-care is important, because when you take care of yourself, you are taking care of your future, in other words. And I realized that because a lot of my friends are passing away, um, and the infectious ness of death in your prime age um, has a lot to do with how you take care of yourself, how you take care of yourself. Um, and do you want longevity, or do you want, you know, this quick fix moment, So in looking at all that, and yes, I'm exhausted, actually. So I may be moving slowly, but I'm exhausted. Um, we get to look at individuals in the news, such as the Pope is in the hospital for bronchitis. That's on the news now. There's this measles outbreak in Texas, is the worst in 30 years, and they're specifically looking at areas where there's no vaccine. Texas has a vaccine exemption, so you can be exempt. I had opted for that when I had my children were in school in Texas. I opted for the vaccine exemption because I as a student of child development and studying, you know, um, as well as my faith, and it's for religious reasons. You can opt out. These things, puncturing the body to inject, this artificial created medicinal preventative cautionary vaccine, there are side effects. It's not fully 100 proof. Nothing is. So even the food you eat, even the anything that you put in your body, um, anything that you put in your body, okay, can be harmful to you. I drink my tea, right? I'm gonna add that. Here it is, right? I don't grow this tea. Something's in my nose. I don't grow this tea. I buy this from the store. It has little, comments on it. Are not flowers the stars of the earth? That's beautiful. Clara Lucas Balfour said that. Let me see. I gotta get my reading light. Oh no, see, Clara. Is it Clara? Yeah, Clara Lucas Balfour. Are not flowers the stars of the earth? She said. Are not flowers the stars of the earth? So, like the heavens has stars, she's speaking of the earth having its own stars, and they're flowers. Flowers are the footprints I feel that angels leave behind. And whenever you see a flower, especially one coming out of the crack of a pavement or concrete, that's a sign to you that you are um, surrounded by angels. You know, they are there and they will be there for you, um, even in the hard times. And hard times meaning hard, concrete times where it's concrete, you know? Excuse me, everyone. I don't know what's happening. Um, it's just been whew, something else. But there is this measles outbreak, and we, you know, in the news. Um, there's been 48 cases reported, and they're looking at the vaccine exemptions. So they're, you know, they're pushing this agenda. And I feel sorry for those folks in Texas who want to be exempt and want to, you know, live outside of the system. The system is living inside of them. And it's cannot sometimes be avoided, unless, especially when you have children in this time. That's why I opt to homeschool my children, and homeschooling is looking like an option for some, because a lot of parents are working from home now too, where they can work from home and they can homeschool. You know, they have a little space there for their, you know, learning, you know, a room that's just like a classroom, and with a library in there and books and, you know, different manipulatives and equipment that, you know, you can school your child at home instead of sending them out in the world, in the dangerous, you know, places. So as I keep on about these, what's in the news, there was a crash in a tunnel in Mesa, Arizona, I think it was. No, not Mesa, Arizona. It was in a tunnel in a mountain somewhere in and people burned up in there. You know, that's tragic. Very tragic that these accidents happen. These are accidents with trains in going through a tunnel. And the people that were caught inside the tunnel, you know, did not make. I think two people are reported that have passed away with that tragedy. So you know, my heart goes out to that, because you have to realize that, you know, these man-made equipments, and I always say, if women made these things, I don't think there would be these issues. So these man-made equipment, you know, are not foolproof safety, and we should not trust in horses and chariots, according to the scripture. You know, I love horses. Don't get me wrong. I love them. I want my two horses, my mare and my stallion, so they can give me a horse baby. But I'm not going to trust in that to, you know, provide me with safety or, you know, anything of that sort. So try, or a car to do that, you know. So it's important to, you know, remember that other people out here are not waking up today. You are. You're waking up today and watching this. And, you know, in the chat, tell me where you're watching from, you know. If you don't have YouTube, you're not subscribed to YouTube, or you haven't subscribed to this channel, you may not be able to comment, or I don't know, something may not be able for you to comment. But send me a comment, you know, and let me know that you are watching. Anyway, eggs is in the news again. And the reason I'm bringing up eggs is because I stopped eating eggs a long time ago, right? And I had started back again and I stopped. And I find it interesting that this has been in the news now with um, this bird flu, and then we see the Pope in the hospital for bronchitis, and all this stuff. People are getting sick. They don't even know they have this bird. They don't even know what they have. You may have it, you don't know. And you may be sick with a fever, all this stuff, and achy feeling, all this kind of stuff. And I'm thanking, you know I'm giving thanks to righteousness. That's why I got to stay on the righteousness so that I don't get sick, physically, mentally, emotionally. I don't want to be sick in any of the slices of the pies. You don't want to be physically sick, intellectually sick, emotionally sick, or socially sick. you know so that's why I think my app is more than what I'm thinking it is. It's gonna become more than that. But anyway, more than what I think. My own understanding is limited, but the understanding and knowledge of righteousness is so massive, and it's so great that one lifetime is not enough to learn anything. So that's why I stay learning every minute I want to learn something and experience something. My good dear friend went to Olive Garden, and I saw pictures. I have to call her, as a matter of fact. I miss speaking to her, and I miss her. And I'm busy, so busy. But anyway, we're gonna get to talk again, and that's what I look forward to. So I have that to look forward to. But anyway, the egg prices and the illnesses that are associated with the eggs. If you check my channel out, check my channel. Hi, Jim H. Thanks. Where are you watching from? Tell us, please, in the comments. Okay, hamburger helper, you got to get rid of that. Get rid of the hamburger helper. What you need to do is get, what I suggest is making your own pasta. Taiwan is in the room, all the way from Taiwan. Yilan, Taiwan specifically. Thank you, Jim, for joining. Jim is joining. Let's welcome Jim. Everybody, I need an emoji, like a fire emoji, because these Psalms you gotta buckle up, Jim, if you're gonna be in this chant of Psalm from Taiwan. Okay? Buckle up, hit me with some fire emojis, because we're getting ready I haven't even started the Psalm yet, and it's 33 minutes. So, stop the eggs. People always tell me I pronounce their name correctly, because I love to read. I'm a librarian, so I have to read and I teach reading. So thank you, Jim. Thank you so much for your feedback, and send some fire emojis. Do you have a fire emoji you can send us? Thank you so much. And like the video rather, subscribe to the channel. I am tired, I'm exhausted and sleepy. It is early in the rise when I go live, so I can start my day. Okay? And I usually sometimes talk about what's going on. Look at Jim sending those fire. Yes. Woo. Thank you, Jim, for those fire emojis. You get the chanting bowl for that. Stop eating eggs. Just stop. Stop eating things with eggs in it. Just stop. Stop eating eggs. White flour is not good. Stop eating things with white flour. Make your own pasta with spinach. You can take spinach, mash it up, boil, and then add certain things to it, and run it through the pasta maker, and you can make your own pasta. Um, Now, when it comes to the meatless products, the plant-based products that are out there, the egg substitutes, stay away from those things. They're processed in a factory. So what you're getting is factory processed um, meatless food, even though it's does not have any animal products in it. It still has the process of a product, so stay away from that. There 53% have been suspended. It's up 53%. Cage free has people on the egg makers are doing away with cage free now. They're getting those eggs. They're not cage free because there's a demand for eggs. Now there's a demand for vegan based eggs. Yeah, and I wanted to shout out to a 96-year-old man. Where is he? In Mesa, Arizona. El Stephen, good yestermorrow, sister of the brethren. Hi, El Stephen. Shout out to Jim. Jim is all the way from Yilan, Taiwan. So let's shout out to Jim with some fire emojis. Thank you. Thank you, El Stephen. Fire emojis. Welcome, Jim, to our movement of righteousness. Righteous movement. So this is a righteous movement I wanted to share. I saw on the news. A 96-year-old. He's 96. And he's riding a bike. He's riding a bike. There's some 30-year-olds who cannot get up off their behind because they're in front of a TV all day. Their expanding weight is becoming extraordinary. Thank you, El Stephen, for shouting out to Jim, giving some love and some fire emojis. Woo! Thank you for joining Chantasama Day. Thank you for liking this video. Thank you for tuning in and being here with me for 38 minutes already. We haven't even gotten to the psalm. We're looking at prefacing the psalm with, loving one another, because life, my friend passed away, and I'm sad about, the passing of my friend. However, in its entirety, the sadness is that we're not loving each other enough. So I thank you, El Stephen, for shouting out your love there, showing that. That's so good. Grab it, Jim. Just grab it. Grab that love, because let me tell you, it's, while we're alive and we're able to, let's do it. So 96-year-old man in Mesa, Arizona. I'm shouting out to this man. I forgot his name, but he's 96 years old, and he rides his bike around the neighborhood and shares treats to animals, to pets. El Stephen, the birds. Yes. My bird friends are very powerful. They just, oh my goodness. Remember the dove that what was the bird that Noah, that gave Noah that sign, that confirmation? What was the type of bird was that? El Stephen, I know you know that answer. Tell us. That's the name of that bird. So The church is a cult. Uh, we have some things out there that have created this um, cultish thing. First a raven, second a dove. Okay, thank you, El Stephen. Thank you so much. So we have that theme today of love. And this 96-year-old rides his bike. He's very active lifestyle for riding his bike. And while he's doing that, it's not just about him riding his bike and staying active, but he's giving something to a vulnerable life form of creation. You know, I like to look at children and families as vulnerable, elderly as vulnerable. These are vulnerable people in our communities that need help, that need to be lifted up, you know? So in that we have that space of lifting up. And I saw this on the news that this 96-year-old is, you know, giving these treats. So I end this you know, preface with the meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away. And this 96-year-old man has found his purpose or his meaning of life. And that's why he's living so, he's 96. Okay. And when you have that meaning of life and you're going to, when you find your gift, you find the meaning of life. Okay. And when you give that gift away, you find your purpose. He's found his purpose. And in that, he has been given longevity, 96 years old. That's beautiful. That's just a beautiful story. And I'm including that in the preface to this psalm today because it is about loving one another. And this 96-year-old is loving himself by keeping active and loving himself by giving to a vulnerable life that's someone's pet. You know, there's a movie that everyone should see. It's called Reality Winner. It's about this woman, Reality. Her name is Reality. Her last name is Winner. And she's from Texas. Anyway, the movie's name is Winner. And I just saw the movie the other day while I was working. I like to put a movie on and sometimes watch while I'm working. And this movie, she rescued a dog that the owner had outside in the cold. You know, it's based on a true story, and you got to watch it. It's on Hulu. Reality is her name. She's a real person. I want to meet this woman because she's just amazing. At 9 years old, while living with her parents in Texas, you know, she's a white woman, but for some reason she has this black vibe about her. Yeah, thank you, El Stephen. Everybody look at Genesis chapter 6. That's where the story of Noah is found. Yeah, the raven did not return, but the dove did with the olive branch as a sign, as a, you know, confirmation, as the promise. This is the promise, right? This is it. So we have to stay in those loving spaces, and in staying in those loving spaces we find longevity, in other words. So, you know, to preface this entire psalm, I wanted to, you know, share that. And the psalm today, 37, it talks about that exact same thing. You will not believe it. It's amazing that the righteousness will not forsake righteousness. those that are righteous. And this 96-year-old man that's going around doing this kindness, this act of kindness, really shows that um, the life you live is determined on your kindness you give. The life you live is determined on the kindness you give. So the life you live is determined on the kindness you give. So how you live, how you end up, in other words, is going to be a reference to how you gave kindness. So in prefacing the psalm today, 37, righteousness is not going to forsake righteousness. That goodness is going to be there once you grab it, hold on to it. Thank you for liking this video, by the way. I have 3 likes already. Thank you. That is right returning to you. All that kindness returns to you when you give that. So thank you. Even that little kindness. I appreciate love it. So the psalm today really, righteousness is not going to forsake righteousness is evident in what I prefaced. I prefaced this, what's going on in the world today. And verse 1 of this psalm, I ask that the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart is acceptable in the sight of what is righteous, good, and kind, as in the graciousness of the Creator that's our, father and mother and brother and sister, and that's all to us as one's look at Jesus. In that way, we have to live in that way and not just be, talking about it. We got to be about it. So in verse 1, we're not going to fret ourselves because of folks that are not in the righteousness, or that's doing evil, in other words. We're not going to be envious of those who are doing wrong, and envy them because they're, whatever they're into. So because in verse 2 it says they will soon fade as the grass and wither like the green herb. Okay, you know how the green herb withers, it dries, and you can put it in your tea. This green herb of my tea withers in order for it to be, able to drink. So what do? We trust in righteousness and do good. Surah dochna. We do good. We dwell in the land and we befriend faithfulness. We be a friend to faithfulness. That's not folks. We befriend faithfulness. What is faithfulness and how is it defined? How do you define faithfulness? Okay. Faithfulness does not bring insecurity, jealousy, envy, lies, cheating. Faithfulness doesn't bring that. So we're going to befriend that because sometimes we run into people that may not be faithful to us. In verse 4, delight in righteousness, and that righteousness is going to give to you the desires of your heart. Because don't you think that the Most High that created your heart and your inside knows what you desire? You're going to be given that. So be careful of the desires of your heart, that they're not fleshly desires, that you desire some ass. Delight yourself in what's above, not what's below. And you're going to be given all what you desire. So in verse 5, it says commit. So in verse 3, we have trust. Verse 4, we have delight. Verse 5, we have commit. You're committing your way to righteousness. So everything you do, the things you do are in that way, that righteous way. You're trusting in that way, and you're going to act accordingly in that way. Blessed greetings of love and joy with gratitude for the Most High daily. I'm going to make that a song. Greetings of love and joy with great gratitude for the Most High daily. Greetings of love and joy with great gratitude for the Most High daily. El Sue. Hi. Blessed greetings, Queen. So when you trust, you delight, you commit yourself to doing right, you're going to be brought forth right in the light. And the justice, you're going to see justice in the noonday at 12 o'clock. Thank you for liking this video and for tuning in to Chant the Psalm a Day. You will get that. You will be given that because you have what? Trust, delighted, and committed. And what have you befriended? Faithfulness. That's where you are. And in verse 7, be still. Be still, I tell you, before righteousness and wait patiently. You just have to be patient. When people insecure and they're jealous, impatience comes around. But when you are patient, right? When you are patient and you don't fret yourself over people who prosper in their way, they may be getting all kinds of prosperous things happening to them. You're not fretting over them or over the person that carries out evil devices. They got the evil devices, right? They're taking their devices into evilness, in other words, or using their device to do evil. Like taking their voice, putting it on a voicemail, on a device to leave something wrong and, cursing and evil. Being evil, in other words. Don't fret yourself over that, right? I'm not going to fret myself over that. I mention that because it's an example. And I use that vicious voicemail as an example. Okay. So I thank you, Keisha, for the voicemail. Beautiful example of what not to do. When you get with someone, you don't do that to the person they were with that they're didn't tell about you. Okay. So we have to remember in verse 9 what's going to happen. Evildoers are going to be cut off. However, those that wait for righteousness is going to inherit the land. They're going to be on the land. They're going to get a home and a place and a dwelling because they're going to have the land. That's why I told someone, I don't want a house, I want land. I just don't want the house. I want the land. So that's why it's been, this back and forth to, it's just been, whatever. Trying to get, you've been approved, but you can't, you want the land as well as the house. I just don't want the house. I want the land, and I want enough land that I could plant my food that I'm going to eat. So you're not going to sell me a house, just a house. Yeah. You're not going to just sell me a house. So we look at verse 10 all the way to verse 11. 10 and 11 are chunked together, right? 10 is just, in a little while, the wicked will be no more. You're going to look for the wicked, but they're not going to be there. You're going to look carefully, but they're not going to be there. Um, in verse 11, who's going to inherit the land and who's going to have these things is the meek. The meek shall inherit the land. The meek, not the boastful, not the sinful, not the evil, not the vicious, not the violent, but the meek will inherit the land and will delight themselves in abundance of tranquility. That means peace of mind. You're not going to got to be worried about no eggs. And because they're not eating eggs. They're not going to have to worry about no dangerous flooding mudslides because they're not living in those spaces. They're not on that kind of sinking sand, because that's what certain lands have become, sinking sand. They're not going to be around no measles outbreak. Okay? They're not, these things, that not going to be around that. Is going to be abundant of tranquility. So in verse 12 and 13, the wicked plots against the righteous. Now this is happening. The wicked plots against the righteous and gnashes their teeth at him like, and if you listen to the voicemail, that's what it sounds like, this gnashing of teeth. However, guess what? Righteousness laughs at the wicked. Thank you, Elsu. We're going to get our land. We're going to have our little house and stuff, but the land we got to get. So righteousness laughs at the wicked. For righteousness sees that the day is coming for the wicked. That the day is coming, is come, is there, is boom. And the other thing I failed to mention in my preface is that the federal government, those of you who are waiting on income tax refunds, I wish you the best, because those offices are getting downsized. Not a lot of people going to be working there doing these things. So, we cannot depend, in other words, on the government. We cannot depend on the government. Okay, you have to realize that the day is coming and it's actually here. Okay. In verse 14 and 15, the wicked are doing things. They're drawing their sword, bending their bows to bring down the poor and the needy, right? And to slay those who are upright, who are righteous, who are living a righteousness, goodness, a righteousness. And this is what the wicked is doing. And when you think someone is stabbing you in your back and twisting the knife into your heart, it's going to enter their own heart and their bows shall be broken. That's what's going to happen. I didn't do it. So don't blame me when something happened to you because you did something to me. I didn't do it. You're doing it on yourself because of the behaviors, right? Your behavior creates your destiny. That's just a given. So in verse 16, better is the little that the righteous has. So it's better to have a little, my little dollar, $1 in my account, because things are happening. Better to have a little, right, than to have a bunch of stuff of many wicked. So the arms of the wicked is going to be broken. Okay. However, righteousness upholds those that are righteous. So in my wicked days, my arm was broken. Yeah. In Arkansas. And behavior of that time in my life, right? That behavior of that time in my life taught me not to go low in that energy anymore. Sleeping with some, laying down with some, nah, them energies is low. Be careful who you lay with, I'm telling you. Be very careful. Because I realized when I broke my arm that I saw the battle, the great battle that was in heaven with the devil and God, and the armies of God and the armies of the devil who were coming up against each other. Bam, bam, bam. And how righteousness won that battle, good over evil, and the righteous were upheld in great glory. That's why there's this jealousy, envy, and all this strife happening today, because of this great battle that took place, that now this army of the wicked is looking for vengeance. That's why the righteous is like, vengeance don't belong to me. It belongs to the Lord. It belongs to God. It belongs to righteousness, not me. I'm going to stand in my righteousness. I don't know what you going to do. You may be wicked and want to curse me out, but I don't want that. I want to send love, kindness, right? So in verse 18 now and 19, righteousness knows the days of the blameless, and the heritage of the blameless is going to remain solid. And the blameless is not going to be put to shame in evil times. In the days of, situations like eggs being these things, the blameless going to be having in abundance. They're going to be having in abundance because they're not going to be depending on this kind of food out here. Like their body's like, man, I gonna eat the egg if I'm gonna spend $20 on a dozen of egg, man, because I want the egg, even though it's bad for you. And the signs of the times are telling you it's bad for you, because look at the outcomes. Look at what's happening as a result of the processing of eggs and the processing of meat. So, child. Verse 20, the wicked is going to perish. That's it. The enemies of righteousness are as the glories of the pastures. They're going to vanish. As smoke, they're going to vanish away. That's it. They're going to vanish away. And verse 21, the wicked borrows, is describing what the wicked is. They borrow, but they don't pay back. They just take. The righteous is generous and gives. Okay. I am surrounding myself with those kind of folks. My friend gave me $200 cash app. I didn't even ask. I'm like, girl, what are you doing? I wanted to do this hair braiding experiment on my hair, and I was telling her about it, and she was like, man, I'm going to send you so you can do it. And send, even though I could do it for myself. That was generous and giving without thinking of, oh, she already got it. I'm not going to send her. I'm not going to, support her Black Mermaid, or I'm not going to help her with whatever, because she got it. You got that in your mind. Oh, she got it. Like, be righteous and be generous and give. I knew someone who won $4,000 in the casino, didn't even give me $1 and say, here's $2, because they said, oh, you already got it. I had it. And it's like, wow. After I've helped you so much, you can't even give me $5. Wow, that says a lot. So the wicked borrows but does not pay back. The righteous is generous and gives. And verse 22, those that are blessed through righteousness is going to inherit the land, in other words. And those cursed is going to be cut off. They're not going to have, they're going to be in apartments, living off of the system, getting food, depending on the government, in other words. That's going to happen. So that's why I'm not settling for a house just to say I'm in a house. I want land. I want land I could plant, and I want land I could have, some animals, not to eat them, but to have the ecosystem of a little eco vibe going on with a homeostasis balance with animals and land, right? Where you're not eating the animals. They're part of that balance of the ecosystem. The manure from the horses to plant your, herbs and stuff. So it's a balance. And that's how it was set up. I don't know why it's gone this way. I know why. Capitalism and colonialism got married and had a baby called white supremacy, and it spread all over the land and fooled the people, bamboozle the people, hoodwink. They got just fooled up the yin yang to the point where they think they come on the earth to serve the oppressor. What is happening? The Most High gonna laugh, I'm telling you. Where is that verse? Laughs, verse 13. Okay, this is Psalm 37. Check out verse 13. The Lord laughs at the wicked. Okay. So in verse 23 and 24, the steps of a person is established by righteousness. When righteousness delights, when that person delights in righteousness, in other words, their steps are going to be established. They're not going to fall like I did and broke my arm, right? So that's not going to happen. And though I did fall, I'm not going to be cast headlong like I fell on my face, because righteousness holds my hand up. Okay. So in verse 25, I have been young and now I am ancient. Yet I have not seen the righteous forsaken. I've not seen folks forsaken who are doing good, and their children are not going to be begging out here in the land, and they're ever lending generously, right? All the time lending generously, and their children become a bless, not a curse. So when people curse and use obscenities or words that are low energy, yeah, sometimes I may go into the F-bomb word. However, when you come on to my channel, that's not what you need to do. So be more. You just seem to have created this channel to be trolling. Let me put you on a timeout, because those kinds of evil, using your device for evil, is what we just talked about. And this Be More Wade, everybody should look that person up and report them. Actually, let me see if I can find Be More Wade in the YouTube guidelines that are part of, and they did that, putting one letter rather, as a representation in that way. Yeah, it is interesting. Okay, good. Thank you for reporting that person. Yeah. Um, yeah. A very low vibration indeed. Report. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I have a lot of haters, let me tell y'all. It's a lot of haters because hate doesn't like truth, right? Um, uh, Hate is against the truth. So when you tell your truth, um, from how situations occurred, um, people may get disturbed by that, and they may come and troll you. They may come on to your Facebook. They may delete you on Facebook. I was deleted on Facebook, but um, I was deleted on Facebook by someone, not Facebook deleting me. But when people do that, then I try to avoid you. It's because they've done you something wrong. And I've been apologized to. People tell me, they made a mistake and they're sorry and they shouldn't have, whatever, whatever. But it's kind of too late because now you're in a situation, and um, when you're not careful, then you become sorry. You represent um, that sorry person, and we have to, in verse 27, um, turn away, from evil and do good. So I lift up Be More Wade, whoever that is, to turn away from evil and do good. Like, totally, because the pain and the destruction of what will be upon a person for those things, it is not going to result in any good future. And that's what saddens me about people that come on and do that. Um, so turn away from evil and do good, so you shall live forever. For the Lord loves justice, and the Lord will not forsake righteousness or righteous people who do good. Um, and they will not be forsaken. They are preserved for all time to come. Look at this 96-year-old who's preserved because of his turning away from evil and doing good. He's not riding around killing the little pets on the street. He's riding around and giving them little treats, right? Um, However, the children of the wicked is going to be cut off. They're not going to fare well. The righteous is going to inherit the land and dwell upon the land. So that's why I have to seek for righteousness all the time and stay in that space, because that's what I seek for. I want not just a house, but I want land. um, um, and this is why the wicked has it out for the righteous, um, because righteousness loves justice and is not going to forsake the righteous saints. They're preserved forever, but the wicked, the children of the wicked, is cut off. They don't like that. And verse 30 speaks about the mouth of the righteous utters wise things, and the tongue of the righteous speaks about justice. So wickedness don't want that. Wickedness want to dominate and colonialize and capitalize off of the poor and the needy. So the law of righteousness is in the righteous's heart, and their steps don't slip, right? You're not going to slip like I did. I went and slipped up. So, and in verse 32, it speaks that the wicked watches for the righteous. Someone was probably watching for me, trying to put me to death, seeking to put me to death. Because I went in a car with folks I didn't even know. So the wicked watches for the righteous and seeks to put the righteous to death. Verse 33, the righteous will not abandon the righteous to the power of the wicked, or let the righteous be condemned when the righteous is brought to trial. Okay, trial meaning court. So be careful. Be very careful. Wait for righteousness and keep the righteous way. Wait for that, and you're going to be exalted to inherit the land. You're going to look on the wicked, and they're going to be cut off. They're going to be gone. And in verse 35, the rootless person, the wicked one, spreading themselves like a green laurel tree, guess what? They passed away, and behold, they were no more. Though I looked for them on Facebook, couldn't find them. Verse 37, mark the blameless and behold the upright, for there is a future for the individual who seeks for tranquility and not dissension and divisiveness. However, transgressors shall be destroyed together, not just one, but together they're going to be destroyed. They want to be together, let them stay, they're going to be destroyed together. And the future of these wicked are going to be cut off. They're not going to have a future. It's going to be no future in the wickedness. So verse 39, the salvation of the righteous, or the future for the righteous, is from righteousness, and that's the stronghold in time of trouble. In time of trouble, when you feel insecure, whatever, you don't go curse folks out. You don't do that. You hold on to your righteousness, and folks don't do that, and they end up wickedness is in high and low place. So righteousness is going to deliver I and I. That's where I'm going to stay, and that's where I'm going to be. So delivering from the wicked and saving is where I'm going to seek. Who else can deliver me from the wicked but the righteousness of the Almighty, that's perfect love? Because I take safety in that, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be good. And when you take safety in that, you're good. You don't have to stress about the wicked. Leave that to righteousness that's more perfect than you. You seek for that, not on the outside of you, but within. That's what you're building. You're building up these building blocks of righteousness within you, inside you. You can be alone. You can sit alone at a restaurant and have your time by yourself. I went to a cafe and I sat and by myself with my laptops writing a grant. I had a good time. When you could do that with yourself, you're going to be secure with anyone else, because when you're not together with the person, you can find things to do and not go out of your righteousness. Yeah. And people go out of their righteousness, they find themselves in wrongness, deep in wrongness. So that is our psalm today, y'all. And oh my goodness. My tea is cold, so I gotta heat it up some more. So that is, oh my God, thank you all for the likes. Thank you for the likes, for real. Thank you for the likes and for the watching. and for helping me block the wrongness out of this environment that we're in, to block the goodness out of this environment. Block the Not block the goodness, block the wrongness from entering the goodness. So thank you for liking this video. Definitely thank you for liking this video. Remember, I wanted to share what the word of the day is. But I have to go to the store. I have to go to the store and get ready for the strong ahead. People talk about the week ahead. I talk about the strong ahead because I'm going to stay in the strong place. I hit my knee. I need a new desk. This desk is so confined. It's just oh my goodness. If I'm not hitting it on that side, I'm hitting on this side. Yeah. So here we go. Selah and Selah again. That was the Psalm today, everybody. Psalm 37, 40 verses. It was long, but timely and needed. It was long, timely, and needed. So, I wanted to look at what the word of the day. I don't know what the word of the day is. What is it? Tranquility for the world. Yeah, Isaiah is brought to us today by Isaiah 26, verse 3. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Joined 2 years ago. Who is this person? Yeah, keep the company of goodness. So, the word today is, tranquility, because the world is in turmoil. As you heard from my preface, when I prefaced the psalm today, it's in turmoil. It's in turmoil. So, the word today of world tranquility for the world, is coming to us is brought to us today rather from Isaiah 26 verse 3. And Isaiah 26 verse 3 speaks of that steadfast mind that you keep. You keep that steadfast mind because you're going to be kept in the tranquility when you have that steadfast mind of righteousness, that is of that trust in the righteousness of above. And that righteousness of above starts from within, that gives that ability to trust. It starts with you. It starts with you changing the way you eat, changing the way you live, changing the way you give, and changing the way you receive, changing the way you are moving in your life. So the life you live is determined on the kindness you give. So in the word today, in the word today, let me get my speaker. In the word today, let's get the word. It's the word. Word of the It's the word of the day. 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 Word of the day. Word of the day. The word of the day today is brought to us by Isaiah chapter 26 verse 3. Thank you for liking this video. Thank you for watching and subscribing to this channel. Okay, to my haters, I love you. You're my motivators. Believe that. You are my motivators. Ready to eat? Yes, I'm ready to eat. We got all French toast. And I said I wanted us to make some. Okay, give me 2, please. Oh my gosh. And I said I wanted to make some French toast. Yeah, so my haters are my motivators. So if you're a hater, it's, just be kind. Don't use F words on my live, okay? In a slick way where you're putting one letter and the next letter and it's spelling out a F word. Don't do that. That shows you're using a device in an evil way. And that's the example, that's a good example of using the device in an evil way. So don't do that, because that'll come back at you. You want to do good, so good come back at you. The words today, the love, the tranquility I wish to see in the world begins in my own heart, right? To call upon the tranquility within I and bring that tranquility wherever I go. I use that righteousness inside as a righteous gift of love to feel in harmony with all others. That person, Be More Wade, isn't feeling in harmony with others. So we are going to send and lift that person up, because for some reason they're out of alignment with the harmonic pattern. So I use my power of imagination to envision the world filled with tranquility, right? Remember, righteousness is going to cover the earth as the water cover the sea. And through I righteous gift of will, we have free will, I choose tranquil responses no matter the circumstances. I choose tranquil responses no matter the circumstances. I choose I choose tranquil responses no matter the circumstances. So I use the example of a vicious voicemail, because that's never happened to me before. And this vicious voicemail echoes the response that should be tranquil no matter the circumstances, right? Envision the righteous healing, loving power enfolding the earth and all the people on the earth. As I claim a righteous vision, like that's where my eyes are, my heart is filled, and my heart is easier for I to perpetuate tranquility, because I am claiming the vision of tranquility, of righteousness. My heart is filled to the brim, okay? The notion that others are holding the same vision of a loving world encourages and comforts me. Okay? I'm going to think that. I am going to commune with righteousness about our I and I shared goal of harmony, of peace, of tranquility, of patience, of serenity. I'm going to commune with righteousness, that we share those goals on earth, and that touches every heart and mind in every corner of the globe. Receive it. Selah and Selah again. Amen, amen. That was our word of the day. It's the 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 word of the day. Word of the day. Word of the day. So take that word of the day, use it in your life today to walk in the righteous way. Okay? Okay. We're going to look at the verse of the day. The verse of the day. Let's look at the verse of the day. What is the verse of the day? What is the verse of the day? Verse of the day. Verse. Verse of the day. Verse. Verse of the day. Verse. Verse of the day. 1 John chapter 4 verse 10 is the verse of the day. 1 John chapter 4 verse 10. This is the message. This is the message that I heard from the beginning. This is the message that I heard from the beginning. We should love one another. That's a song. I'm starting a girl band. We're going to rock these psalms in a dun dun a bum bum. We're going to be, hey, pa 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 po. This is the message. This is the message. We should love one another. That's the verse of the day today, y'all. We should love one another. That's it. That's the verse of the day. Verse of Thank you, 1 John chapter 4, verse 10. Verse. Tattoo that on my body. 1 John 4:10. Verse of the day. Verse. I don't want a woman name on my body. I want scriptures tattooed all over me. Down my leg, I want Psalm 121. Down my leg. Like down my leg, I want Psalm 121. Down this leg, I want 1 John 4:10. We should love one another. So then people could read. They will read my body and read these scriptures. I don't get tattoos, y'all. That's not a thing for me. But if I were to, that's what I would do. Anywho, let's look at the verse of the day, and the word of the day was amazing. Thank you, 1 John. Thank you, Isaiah 26. I love you. We love you, Isaiah. We love you, 1 John. We want to look at some life lessons. Y'all ready for life lessons from the ocean? To wrap this up, life lessons from the ocean. Life lessons from the ocean. Y'all ready for that? Buckle up. I don't know what it is today, but we're going to see. Let's see. Life lessons from the ocean. Life lessons. Life lessons from the ocean. Life lessons from the ocean. Life lessons. Life lessons from the ocean. Okay, let's get it. Let's get some life lessons from the ocean. Now, this life lesson, this is the picture of it. Look at these. This is the picture of the life lesson today. Let's see what. Never judge by appearances. Ah! Oh my goodness, never judge by appearances. I'm not going to do that again. This is what it says. Mud makes hippos happy, according to the song. However, it makes worms, clams, and fish even happier. The surface of mud can look lifeless and still, but a closer examination reveals life teeming on and beneath the surface. This mud is a food source store for fish. Flatfish like stingray, my stingray friends, can sense the unfortunate worms just below the surface and hoover them up. Oh my goodness. Bass is a type of fish. Gray mullet and herring will use sheltered muddy shallows as nursery grounds and may rarely leave a good location as the juveniles grow fast on nutritious worms. So, never judge by appearances. This mud makes hippos happy, and it also is a place for food, for life, for growing new life, and all of that. So the appearance of it may look, but deep down in there, guess what's happening? Amazing. I love that. Life lessons from the ocean. I love life lessons from the ocean. Oh my goodness. Life lessons from the ocean. I love that. Life lessons from the ocean.
Life lessons.
Never
from the
judge
ocean.
by appearances.
Life lessons. Life lessons.
There's
from
the
the ocean.
stingray.
Life lessons.
Life lessons from the ocean.
Life
Amazing.
lessons. Life lessons from the ocean.
Thank you for the life lessons from the ocean. Beautiful. Now, my favorite part. This is an hour and 37 minutes. Oh my gosh. This is, where are we on? 7:35 here on the Eastern Shore. 7:35 here on the Eastern Shore. Let's see. Our next stop is
Daily communication. Daily communication. Daily communication to righteousness for women. Daily communication to righteousness for women.
Thank you so much. Daily communication for women. This is day 46. We are on day 46 of the 365-day communication to righteousness for women. So we're going to talk to God, in other words. And the title for today is With God, Everything is Possible. So with righteousness, everything is possible. And is brought to us today by Mark chapter 10, verse 26 to 27. And they were exceedingly astonished and said to him, "Then who can be saved?" Jesus looked at them and said, "With man it is impossible, but with God, ooh, child." What? Read Mark chapter 10, verse 26 to 27. With righteousness, goodness, mercy, love, and all that represents, anything is possible, y'all. But we doubt because we're eating things that is making us not strong in our minds. So this is the communication to righteousness for women. God, Jah, Jehovah, Selassie the first, Jah, Rastafari, Karamawe, Haile, Buddha, Krishna, Jesus Christ, however you want to start that communication, that's your personal business. Okay? I don't judge you. Don't judge me. Sometimes I forget that there is a limit to what I can accomplish. And I need to put faith in righteousness, knowing that when something is meant to be, that righteousness will make it happen. I know that I am meant to use the gifts that righteousness has given me to live a good and just life. Selah and Selah again. Herons, the daily communication to righteousness for women. I love that.
Daily.
Thank you.
Daily communication. Daily.
Thank you for joining.
Daily communication. Daily. Daily communication to righteousness for women. For women. Daily.
Thank you so much for joining Chantasama Day, everybody. We are out of time. We've been here for what? Hour and 40 minutes. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for joining. We're going to have a blessed day today. Have a blessed Sunday. Remember, stand in love. Stand in love today. Stand in love today. Stand in love today. It's the right way. It's the right way. Chantasama Day. In the rise. In the rise. We gon' shine. Hey. Take good care. See you next time. In the rise.